Everyone kept telling me that London would be a fresh start.
He loves his cars, you know. I think you're gonna like him.
The golden boy? Shit!
You know, it's just us, so the big entrance wasn't necessary. Get out.
But if you're just gonna leave me on the sidewalk in the middle of a city I don't know.
No, I'm gonna leave you on the pavement.
Hey, Nick.
Kiss me.
Wait, Nick fights and races. Any other bad boy cliches?
In this video, we will tap into the movie My Fault London. We will discuss the movie story, summarize the plot, and explore the cast and characters. Additionally, we will cover the movie's production details and box office performance. Finally, we will provide the reviews and personal reactions. So let's begin. My Fault London review Prime Video's unbranded yet entertainment adaptation knows exactly what you want in a romance. My Fault London plays out exactly how would you expect if you watch the 2023 Spanish adaptation of Mercedes Ron's Wattpad story, Culpa Mía, the first of the trilogy. There are not any surprises, and all that we are left with is a little bit of satisfaction and underlying curiosity as to why this movie was worth investing in. My Fort London follows the love affair of newly minted step siblings Noah and Nick. This version of Noah is American. She moves from Florida to England, her mother's home country, to move in with her new stepfather and stepbrother. She leaves behind a best friend and boyfriend, both of whom betray Noah. Noah and Nick have a frosty first meeting at Nick's home, and from there they fumble around their mutual attraction until it quickly hits a boiling point. Drama from their respective lives threaten to append the forbidden romance which they desperately try to hide from their parents. Minor changes help and hinder My Fault London. The Spanish adaptation was met with renewed support, and the sequel to Your Fault, released on Prime Video in late 2024, was met with sequel fervor. Those who enjoy the steamy tension and relationship between Nick and Noah can relive in all in a different language and country. There are subtle differences between the two adaptations, both of which are future debuts for their respective directors. They are minor things that mostly reveal themselves through the performances. Overall, the two adaptations differ based on the culture in which each is set. The bad appeal and sexual attraction trap the Spanish adaptation, leaning on the cliches of the Spanish being passionate, sexy people. My Fort London feels a lot more tempered in contrast. It's a slightly disengaged from the sex appeal of its characters, though it doesn't outright discard it because it's the basic of the narrative. Instead, we get a bit more of Nick and Noah traumas and familiar baggage as screenwriter Melissa Osborne and directors Dani, Girdwood and Carlotte Fassler focus on the emotional connection over the sexual one. Ultimately, the characterization will play better for audience unfamiliar with the original, as the thrill in Nick and Noah relationship are better without comparison. With so little distance between the two adaptations, it feels like an utter waste of Asha Banks and Matthew Broome's talents. Wattpad has an overwhelming number of stories that play on a variety of kings, like the step-sibling son, and it would be a better use of the filmmakers' burgeoning talent to adapt something else. My Fort London can stand on its own, but only for viewers who are not familiar with or want to engage with the Spanish language adaptation, which is hard to imagine considering Culpa Mía was a record-breaking hit for Prime Video. Nevertheless, there is enjoyment to be had. Asha Banks and Matthew Broome's salvage an impact but entertaining adaptation. Asha Banks and Matthew Broome have a sweet chemistry, but it doesn't really pop from the start. Instead, it slowly reveals itself as the characters soften toward each other. The story is rather simple and almost reserved, and it feels at times like the actors are settled with recreating moments or re-establishing familiarities with the audience. While minor changes were made to differentiate My Fort London from Culpa Mía, it's fertile. However, My Fort London benefits from making Nick and Noah more equal and removing the age gap. At the very least, they don't accentuate it. The shortcomings are almost predictable as it is a young adult romance, so that is not really a knock against the film. The pacing is pretty good, developing the romance between Nick and Noah at a comfortable speed and giving space for the surrounding drama to flesh out their respective characters. The drama with Nick's mom is a bit ham-fisted, but it emphasizes that English Nick is softer than Spanish Nick. Cocky as he may be, there is a strong sense of humor, respect, and kindness under the tough exterior. Noah is the character who suffers the most in the charges made for the English language adaptation. She is slightly less personable and emotive. This Noah is a touch more reserved. Gone is the sense of recklessness that matches her lovers, and the incredibly strong feelings and reaction of her Spanish counterpart. While Asha Banks does a decent job, the way she plays Noah as she is written is no different from the YH Ander's average American heroine bit plan. Ultimately, the characterization will play better for audience unfamiliar with the original, as the thrills in Nick and Noah's relationship are better without comparison. My Fart London is okay, it's perfectly timed for Valentine's Day and primed to be devoured by an excitable audience. The films look great, the cinematography is a key reason it grabbed my attention. The actors do their job well, and the soundtrack, albeit abrasive at times, delivers one banger after another. There's a Canadian audience for this particular band of firemen, and My Fart London fits comfortably into it. The Prime Video movie is limited by the fact that another recent adaptation exists, but it works within its own framework. The challenge ahead is making the sequel, if there is one, feel like it can stand on its own and not just by an imitation. My Fault London review a tasteless English language adaptation of tawdry teen lit. In My Fault London, there simply are not enough alteration to author Mercedes on source material Culpa Mía to make its trashy gimmick the least bit palatable. The Wattpad Fiction's original Spanish adaptation of the same name, which debuted on Prime Video in 2023, seemingly fits the definition of a guilty pleasure, making audience cringe as non-blood related step siblings challenge puritanical social mode with the embarrassingly toxic borderline and satiric countership. At least the tradition did contain the parents laughing off any sneaking suspicious their kids are having hot bed with each other under their roof. This slightly toned down English language version plays as if a teen jockey Collins wrote an elegant romance between two contemporary steps set in the words of the Fast and the Furious and never break down. If that sounds cochically messy, it's because it is. The leading lovers' sharp edges are shaved down, softened to add a rooting interest that for descending subscribers who click play, it doesn't resonate because it's impossible to get over the taboo of it all. Marking their directorial debut, Caltor Fassler and Dani Girdwood, the duo will also be familiar but different demonstrates visual dexterity within the explosive action sequence yet fail to avoid the lazy glitched pitfall of the pre-existence narrative. 18 years old Noah, played by Asha Banks, is less than thrilled to be leaving behind her car boyfriend Dan, played by Harry Gilby, and Bestie Helby, played by Tatula Evans in Miami. Her soft-spoken mom, Ella, played by Abe McLean, has just married British millionaire William, played by Ray Fearon, and is moving them to the family mansion in London. When Noah arrives, she warmly welcomed by everyone from the staff to her new stepdad, well, almost everyone. William's arrogant, financially independent son Nick doesn't take kindly to her, and she is quickly caustic in return. Their bickering and banter opens the door to bonding once Noah enters Nick's dangerous world of fast cars, fist fights, and furious figureheads. Turns out Nick and Noah have more in common than they realize. Noah's dealing with several steady issues surrounding her father's substance and physical abuse as well as his subsequent incarceration. Meanwhile, Nick is sorting through his mommy's issues stemming from her alcoholism. However, the underground racing and bare-knuckle brawling circuit is not helping Nick step out of danger and in his younger half-sister Maddie's life. Drama escalates further once underhemmed criminal Ronnie targets Nick and his lover once in a brutal harassment campaign which brings the step-sibling closer together. locking them in a torrid sexual affairs. Oh, writer Melissa Osborne does what she can to polish the narrative's more regressive respect, like the fairy tale nature of Noah's glow up and her attraction to the bad boys due to her deep-seated psychological issue, adding in self-aware humor to poke fun at the problematic parts, but it's neither innovative nor subversive, as the character development remains the same. Teeny tweaks strip away the Spanish features more ludicrous detail, such as the timing of Noah's kidnapping, while aging Noah up 1 year moderately lessens the egg factor, but the same root lackluster story beats remain. Logic questions and controversies are also bound given Nick's abandoned wealth and Noah's desperation to stay in Miami. It's baffling why either of these legal adults would choose to still live with their parents. Noah's dad breaking out of jail, fleeing parole, and escaping to another country in a post 9/11 world in mind numbingly prosperous. Nick's mother's role forbidding her adult son's extracurricular activities only extend to curtain misbehaviors and not the glaringly forbidden one in which he is currently engaged. But believes this filmmaker for bequeathing her with the unintentionally hilarious line, "All the anger he feels for me comes out through his fist or on the road." Though the story fails to take hold, the aesthetics add glossy beauty. Fassler and Girdwood, along with cinematographer Eddie Moore and editor Robert Frost, heightened pulse rates during car races and parachutes. Noah's race against Ronnie feels like it belongs in the Fast and the Furious canon as they barrel like beasts around confined spaces. Nick's shiny, cherry red McLean zooming through the city and countryside is photographed with a crafty eye, its unabashed car pawn that gets the heart riving. Meanwhile, Nick's Fight Club sequence go handle to increase intensity and immediacy, delivering a stinging sense of raw pathos. Banks and Broome's commitment to the bit goes a long way in terms of their chemistry, through the gross undertones in the material harbor our investments in their characters' counter drums. Their performances are magnetic. Anna Levish, who plays Noah's first British friend Gina, threatened to run away with the show with her beguiling charm, humor, and naturalism. She and Banks share clever banter, talking as close girlfriend to suggesting an entirely different, more engaged film centered on their friendship instead. There are two more books in Ron's Culpa Mía series awaiting their English language adaptation, but there's not much hope they'll fare any better. Considering the shameless material, even if one overlooks the film's overt embrace of the protagonist, scandalous relationship, they are often called brother and sister, which is pretty shabby regardless of its jocular intent. There's a precious letter to make us want to continue our journey with these deplorable. Reviewed online on February 11, and My Fart London is a production and Amazon MGM Studio and Inegus Media present of a 42 production in association with Pockewise Film. My Fault London ending explain who is behind the attacks. Serving as the remake of the 2023 Spanish film My Fault London open a fresh spin on the steamy romantic tale. Here we follow 18 years old Noah who moves from America to London with her mother who has recently fallen in love with William, a wealthy British businessman. Whilst in London, Noah meets William's son, bad boy Nick, and soon discovers that there is an attraction between them neither can avoid, despite starting out very much as enemies. As Noah spends the summer adjusting to her new life, her devastating past catches up with her, while she and Nick embrace on a whirlwind romance. So what happened during the weekend away? While the group are heading off to Ibiza of the weekend, Ronnie smashes up Nick's other car at the petrol station, a warning that the feud between them is far from over. After being beaten in a race by Noah earlier in the movie and with Nick walking away from the bare knuckle fight, he is clearly pissed and his ego is definitely getting in his way. However, Nick is clearly feeling possessive over Noah and winds up hitting someone in the club who tries it on with her. She is not happy with this, given a traumatic accident from her past that has caused her to shy away from violence. Unfortunately, a prank goes horribly wrong when Noah is locked in the bathroom. This triggered old memories from the past and she starts having a panic attack. Nick managed to save her though, taking Noah Ike at the party. What happened with Noah in the past? All of Noah's fear stems from her father, Travis Mickey. Despite teaching her how to drive and being an extremely talented racer, he ended up hooked on oxy and drunk excessively. He was always a great driver, but one night he snapped and hurt her. 6 months later, she testified against Travis. This single statement saw her put Travis behind bars, which she has been guilty about ever since. Nick reassures Noah that she is not a bad girl and that what's happened is not her fault. This essentially works to open up the whirlwind romance between the two as they wind up having bet as any chance they can. So, who is behind the attacks? Unfortunately, things are not safe at the villa when Leon is found inside the garage in a car and beaten. Noah and Ella are taken away to a safe refuge. Williams sits down with his son and the police to discuss what's going on. While Nick is admit that this is the work of Ronnie, the truth is it's actual Noah's father, Travis. Travis has escaped out of prison after breaking his parole and Ronnie has been working with him this whole time. Remember that guy smoking outside the Ford Club? Turns out that's a Travis. All this time Ronnie and Travis has been trying to get a Noah, not Nick. Dale got it all backwards and unfortunately Ronnie catches up with Noah fast before Nick can get there. He rides down in the elevator with her where Travis happens to be waiting. He holds Noah up at ransom and demands 1 billion in cash. He also gives them an hour to transfer it, otherwise she is going to be killed. So how does my fort London end? Nick shows up determined to get Noah back, but winds up fighting Ronnie outside instead of negotiating. This time they are properly brawling and with a knife between them, Ronnie winds up stabbing Nick in the gut. Thankfully, Nick smacks him over the head with a lead pipe, knocking him out. Unfortunately, he is too late to save Noah, who is held up at gunpoint and forced to drive with her father onto the road. The police also shows up too, but they are no match for Nick, who is still sporting a nasty gash to his stomach, chases them up the motorway. After managing to cut them off, Noah plows onto the side of Nick's car, tipping him over and causing a huge crash. Although everybody is still alive, Noah escapes from her abusive father and runs to Nick. As she does, police shows and kill Travis. Thankfully, Noah and Nick manage to make it out in one piece and solidify their ties together in the swimming pool, kissing together. Their parents laugh it off, believing there's no way they are together romantically, otherwise that could cause big problem. Oh well, they are going to be in for a shock when they find out, right? So, My Fault London released in 2025. Ending and summary: is Travis dead? So, My Fault London is a British spin-off of the popular Spanish film series Mia Culpa. The fact that it is one of the most popular franchise on Amazon Prime is a reason enough to release pretty much the same story in English language for the global audience. The focus here is more on the drama and mystery element than the steamy romance. Noah had packed her belongings to move from Florida to London. Her mother had fallen in love with a British man and she wanted Noah to stay with them. Noah's relationship with her father was messed up, but we will get back to that later. Leaving behind her best friend Hallie and her boyfriend Dan was not easy, but Noah didn't have much of a choice. She was prepared to hate her new life, especially her stepbrother Nick. Sharing the same space with someone her age, she barely knew who was also supposed to be her brother, was all too strong. But will Noah forever hate Nick or will change between them? These who's already watched Mia Culpa knows how the step sibling relationship is going to turn out. But for those who might still be wondering what just happened, we get into the details. So, Noah initially struggled to make sense of how she felt seeing Nick by the pool at her new home. She wanted to hate him, but there was something about him that intrigued her. They initially got on each other's nerves, always arguing and not making an effort to understand one another. But Noah realized that Nick cared about her when he came to her rescue after someone spiked her drink at a party. When Noah told Nick that the local gangster Storm wanted to sleep with her without her consent, he was furious. He ended up punching Tom in the face and left the party with Noah. Meanwhile, Noah had recently learned that Nick was the brains behind an app that was downloaded by millions and he made a lot of money at the age of 17. She had wrongfully assumed that he lived off his father's wealth and was a good for nothing. Nick helped Noah to her bedroom, and as he took her in, he noticed marks on her body suggesting past abuse. He also realized that he and Noah had the same tattoo, a knock rope that symbolized strength. One of the reasons why Noah and Nick bonded was because they both had been through traumatic past. Nick's mother was an alcoholic who left him and his father to get better. While she tried to connect with Nick during her treatment, he did not show interest. He was only 12 then and he struggled to comprehend the situation. A couple of years ago, Nick and his mother reconnected and she wanted to keep in touch, especially to spend time with his little sister Maddie. As someone who always got into fights and only cared about car races, Noah got to see Nick's soft side when he was with Maddie. Noah realized she had been hard on him without going through the struggle he had gone through. She too shared a similar past. Her father was an alcoholic who later got addicted to oxycontin and turned monsters every time he took a dose. One day he got violent and physically assaulted Noah. She had tried to lock herself in a room, but he managed to get in, and the traumatic memory continued to haunt her. She later testified against her father in court, and her testimony was the reason why he was sent to jail. Even though she knew it was the right thing to do, she felt guilty for being the one to put him behind bars. The only good memory Noah had to her father was when they taught her to drive. He was a racer and she enjoyed spending time with him. But addiction took everything from her. Nick and Noah believed they were two broken human beings who crossed paths most unexpectedly, yet together they found the will to heal. Even though they were step siblings and they knew it was not the kind of romantic relationship society would happily expect, they are not ready to deny themselves the joy that they experienced when they were together. So, Nick's mother strongly believed that her son developed an aggressive attitude in the time she left since she could not control the situation. He felt the need to put himself through suffering and dabble in violence, even though he had proved his potential with the app. He got involved with the wrong people and enjoyed spending his time racing cars or signing up for paid fights. After Nick punched-stormed one night, the leader of his gang, Ronnie, who had recently been released from prison, challenged Nick to race against him. Ronnie was obsessed with punishing the rich and he was in the mood to destroy Nick. Everyone assumes Nick would lose the race, and that was when Noah stepped in. She was a seasoned driver and she hopped into Nick's car and raced against Ronnie. After Noah won the race, Ronnie accused Nick of running away from the challenge. He was agitated and asked Nick to fight him one on one and only then he would rest. Nick agreed to the deal. As someone who grew up in a violent household, Noah could not stand fights and altercations. She wanted Nick to not fight anymore, and even thought he did not have a choice. Noah reminded him that there was always a choice. On the night of Nick and Ronnie's fight, Noah was in the crowd. All the blood made her feel anxious, and even though Nick was about to win, she refused to stand by and watch him fight. He not only did not take her advice, but he was also ruining his chances of getting to meet Maddie regularly. Nick's mother had only one condition: Nick was not allowed to come by her house with wounds and cuts. The minute Nick saw Noah leave, he knew he'd upset her and he was not ready to fight. Ronnie was furious and he took Nia's McLean as payment of not standing up to the challenge. While Noah and Nick managed to get over the situation, they soon faced Ronnie and his gang again at a gas station. There was no reason behind the attack, and all Noah and Nick could do was drive as fast as they could. The next attack was on Nick's best friend and trainer Leon. He was beaten, his mouth was tapped, and he was locked in a car in Nick's garage. After Leon was sent for treatment in an ambulance, Nick's father decided it was best for Noah and her mother to stay at a hotel while they tried to get to the bottom of the issue. After Noah left, Nick's father introduced him to Detective Satu, according to whom he repeated attacks are planned by Noah's father. So while Nick had assumed everything was happening because he backed out from the fight with Ronnie, as it turned out that was not the case. Noah's father Travis had escaped from prison and asked his fake passport to travel to London and then hired Ronnie. When Nick saw Travis' photograph, he immediately recognized him. He was there on the night of the fight, and he was one of the men who had attacked him and Noah at the gas station. As Nick tried to understand what was going on, Travis and Ronnie kidnapped Noah from the hotel. But what was Travis' motive? He simply wanted money. Travis knew William was a wealthy man and he wanted to make use of the opportunity. He demanded $1 million in exchange for Noah, and while William and the detective planned their next course of action, Nick tried to come up with a solution. It suddenly dawned on him that the McLaren stolen by Ronnie had a tracking system and they could use it to find Noah. He contacted his father and told him about the plan and shared his location so that the police could follow him to the spot. Nick was right, the tracker led him to the spot where Noah was being held. So while Ronnie handled Nick, Travis escaped with Noah. Ronnie stabs Nick in an attempt to stop him, but luckily Nick got his hands on an iron rod and used it to knock Ronnie down. Ronnie did not care about the money, all he wanted was to teach rich people as a Nick's lesson, but things didn't pan out the way he wished for. Travis shot at Nick a few times to scare him off while he instructed Noah to drive. As Nick followed Noah and Travis, he remembered Noah saying that the only way he considered ever catch up with her was if he used a shortcut. So he did just that. He chose another ally and ended up cutting Noah off. The cars collided and Nick barely managed to make it out of his car. During My Fault London's ending, Travis held his daughter at gunpoint when the police surrounded him. When Travis pointed his gun at Nick, Noah managed to escape and she held on to Nick. With Noah's gone, Travis had no leverage and he knew that no matter what he did, he would have to face repercussions, so Travis chose the only option he had left. He shot himself. The entire episode scared Noah. She was only trying to heal from her past trauma when something even worse occurred. While she wanted to believe that her father was not entirely a terrible human being, in the end he proved her wrong. He had raised her hoping to explode her someday, and knowing the truth was surely not easy for Noah. Even if she hated him at that moment, watching him die right before her eyes were traumatizing. And it was not just her father that she had to deal with. Noah panicked when she saw Nick struggling to remain conscious after her lost a lot of blood. So did Nick survive? Turns out he did. My thought London could have ended on a sad note, but luckily Nick recovered. The ending suggests that they have no intention of breakup just because they were step siblings. Even though the situation was not ideal, they believed they had found love and they wanted to hold on to it. Meanwhile, William and Ella wondered if there was some romantic spark between Noah and Nick, but they shaded off the thoughts, thinking it was too wild to be considered. Well, they better brace themselves because they are in for a surprise. Since the film is based on Mercedes Ron's culpable astrology, we can expect My Fault London to return with sequels. My Fault London is the movie released in 2025 and it is played by Asha Banks, the girl, so based on the Culpa Mía trilogy of books by Arthur Mercedes Ron. My Fault London follows a duo of hugely successful Spanish language adaptation from Prime Video for this young adult romance. The action shifts to London delivering on sexy accents, erotic thrills and action-packed chaos as its center in Verland romance between two step-siblings played by relative newcomers Asha Banks and Matthew Broome. Their chemistry alone is electric, sketching out their tantalizing affair with teases and filtration. Originality-wise, the wet pad sensation will probably not win over any new words. Still, for fans of The Kissing Booth and After My Fault, Lender zoom in as a new favorite in the young adult space. Noah Banks heads for London with her mother for a fresh start. She vows to try a long-distance relationship with her boyfriend Dan, but does anyone actually but that the two are destined for long-term success? Noah's new big stepbrother Nick pushed her button from the second they meet. Hilariously enough, the first time she locks eyes with Noah is during her tours of their garage's My Home. A shorter Nick emerges dripping wet from the backyard pool. And notice Noah, while he has the British charm down, Nick's emotional outbursts and cocky aura do not match his depth. Curly-haired persona, as they say, opposite attract. Before long, Noah has gone from absolutely loathing Nick to crushing on him. A tale as old as time, two people forced under the same roof, desperately trying to resist and untable attraction. Initially, Nick wants nothing to do with Noah, the feeling is mutual, but as Noah immerses herself deeper into Nick's world, they realize they may have more in common than their first encounter would suggest. Of course, the fact that Nick has become Noah's little stepbrother seems to be a bit of a roadblock, but the movie wastes little time on assessing the morals of either character. Instead, dual directors Carla Fassler and Dani Girdwood lean into what they know audience will want to see: a fairy love story, intense underground car racing, and a lovable sets of character. So, of course, My Fault London definitely is not without its share of issue. The simplicity of the plot could be off-putting, while some scenes feel drawn out. Charming 15 or 20 minutes would make off tighter pacing. While the movie thrives on its dynamic moments, it does lean heavily into predictable tropes: cheating boyfriends, rich stepbrother with a dark past, underground fights, and a dramatic hostage situation. The whole library with the racing Hathaway Droney feels underdeveloped compared to the bigger drama with Noah's father. His role mainly serves as an excuse for Nick to have a punching bag. As Noah, Asha Banks does add depth to the character, resulting in a lead we actually care about. Eventually, the layers of Noah's past begin to unpeel, further revealing what lies beneath. A romance that works requires us to root for its central love story by finding commonality between Noah and Nick. In addition to them both being very pretty, we have an actual reason to care about their relationship. If there's a one thing by far London absolutely nailed, that would be the Noah and Nick for it all. Charlotte Fassler and Dani Girdwood, how exactly what type of movie they are making, leading to a concise viewpoint, endlessly entertaining and heartfelt. My Fort London adds a British flavor to a beloved brand while creating two new stars in the process. My Fight London presents a scandalous romance while potentially launching a new franchise. The new UK original movie will premiere exclusively on Prime Video in more than 240 countries and territories worldwide on February 13, 2025. So, My Fault London, stupid once more. So, in the Prime Video film, after Noah's mother Ella falls for the very wealthy man William, the mother-daughter Dee moves from America to London to stay in William's huge estate. However, apart from the change in living situation, she was not ready for her stepbrother Nick. Their initial fragrant meeting turns into something more as they got to know each other, but Noah's estranged father possessed a sudden risk to everything she was worked for. My Fort London directors is Dani Girdwood and Charlotte Fassler. My Fort London Prime Video writer is Melissa Osborne. My Fort London 2025 cast was Asha Banks, Matthew Broome, Eve McLean, Ray Ferrer, Anna Levish, Jason Fleming, Kareem Hassan, Sam Bachchan, Amelia Kenworthy, and Harry Gilby. The British romance drama film has a runtime of 119 minutes and it is an adaptation of the 2023 Spanish Prime Video film My Fault, which is based on Culpa Mía by Mercedes Ron. So last week I watched Mars, the Hindi adaptation of The Great Indian Kitchen, an important and impactful story that should be seen by as many people as possible. It's not only an entertaining and engaging story, but it also one with a very important or tight message. Adaptation into mainstream language is thus nothing new for most of us viewers. It just makes sense when the movie is a good and not trash. Unfortunately, by Fort London, I cannot justify the points of its existence. It follows the exact same story as the original as expected. The problem though is that the original story is not only nonsensical but also quite disturbing and cringy. Noah moves to London with her mother after the latter marries a British millionaire and falls for her stepbrother because of course she does. Because going to gala is a normal thing in the world and sleeping with your new brother is as well. So the new stepbrother is the movie is played by Ray Ferran, who played hot misogynist since Fleabag, and I refuse to remember him as anyone else. And his relationship with Abe McAllen is almost non-sexist and unforgettable. Anyway, this movie is not even about that. It's a showcase of two very good-looking teenagers trying to get it on in their home, which they share, and realizing that it's better to be friends with your step siblings than make them an enemy. It's mostly about these two people making out and then some, because let's face it, this plot is something we have seen in Twilight or the 50 Shades series in one or another. Let's talk about Noah. Actually, again, there's nothing about new Noah. She is a Bella in more ways than one, complete with the I don't wear heels archetype. Nick is equally unplayable and one-dimensional. He is the hot rich kid who is spoiled beyond compare. Oh wait, no, he is not spoiled. He sold his company at 17, of course. He is soft only for Noah because why not? There's not a lot of sexual tension between the two, but I will say that it's acted better than the original. So listen, I like watching Fanja movies and are guilty player, but this is without any real depth or logic that it's not even worth the guilty player tag. There is a fun car chases which is entertaining in a way, but then again there's a no little that the movie has to offer. The background score is very plain and forgettable and adds nothing to the film. My Fault London is a silly, unnecessary remake that adds nothing, takes nothing, and does nothing. Granted, the original was terrible, so really whose fault is it if we expected anything from? My Fault London Prime Video Review. Is it better than Culpa Mía? So going into My Fault London, I had my expectation at the bottom of the theme because I absolutely despite the Spanish original Culpa Mía. Now don't get me wrong, I definitely think we need angsty teen sexual wetpad adaptation, but in my opinion they have got to have some meat on their bones to actually be worthwhile. Culpa Mía was one of Prime Video's most watched films based on the novel of the same name. The film was the first of a trilogy, which we have already got a second part for, and delivers on the promise of sensual film that is determinedly only bother about the sexual tension between the two main characters, step siblings Noah and Nick. This is where I was admittedly thrown off because I feel like we have somehow lost touch with what a teen movie would look like. Sure, there will be tons of sex, but can we get some better writing of everything else? Hey, what do I know? Because this movie was a successful, they decided to adapt it into another language. I am personally getting tired of talking about this because I have recently been doing it so often, but is this a second screen thing as well? Oh yeah, we already know the conflict and what's going to happen. So let's just make it in another language with a few minor changes and be done with it. It really makes me as a member of the audience feel a little bit useless. For lack of a better word, it is true that My Fault London is a little bit or maybe quite a bit unnecessary. Apart from some minor changes from the Spanish film to fit the cultural climate of an English-speaking audience, the film mostly stick to the script to a T. So why then do I think it's actually better? And what are a few things I wish the Spanish film had replicated? My Fault London, for the uninitiated, follows Noah, a girl who has just moved from Florida to London because her mom's found a rich British man she has head over heels for. Noah has to live with her super hot and educated stepbrother Nick, who happens to be the same age as her. The rest of the story involves car racing, underground fights, and past traumas, a formulaic teen drama. Yet, what makes the English adaptation different from the original Spanish is how it forces more on character development, rather than having them eyes shade every time they look at each other. The chemistry builds slowly, it goes from friendship to romance, and it somehow feels more like it's built to last, if you will. The story is not qualitative, but if you have seen the original and enjoy it, you might be disappointed by the relative lack of depth and the sort of emotional bonding in the London version. But if you are new to the franchise, choose the film based on what you had prefer, a slowish burn or just a sexy film. They have definitely both got their own things going for them. The best part of both films is the cast and how they each bring something of their own to these traumatized teens. Asha Banks is a delight to watch as she molds herself from nervous and annoyed to bold and tough. She is also stunner to look at, so you will not be seeing me complain. However, I am most shocked by Matthew Broome, who plays Nick, and is absolutely unrecognizable from his last role. The last I saw of the 25 years old, he played a British aristocrat in a historical drama called The Bacchanals, and spotted facial hair that definitely made him look older. I am just really shocked by the duality of the two characters and how he nails both charm and importance with such case. He definitely molds himself into the character he is playing, and had I not looked this movie up, I'd have ever known he was the same guy. And just to the question on your mind, they have fantastic chemistry even if not that way from the start. I think My Fault London chooses his supporting character more sparingly than the Spanish version. I definitely feel like the friends and ex-boyfriend had a much bigger role to play in the original. Although I definitely prefer what they did with the ex character in this one. It's almost as if the friendship along with the trauma takes center stage in this version of the story. This is My Fault London is a good standalone separate from the franchise. Also, I think this film takes itself less seriously than Culpa Mía, which makes it a little bit more fun. It knows it's a cringy and a little bit over the top, so it has fun with it rather than playing it out like something super serious. At the end of the day, both films has different approaches, which is probably the excuses of making another version of the highly successful Culpa Mía. The film is extensive looking and there are a lot of cool outfits, cars and location that you can swoon over. The leading pair is delightful, so if you want some trauma ads, then this movie will definitely scratch that itch for you. Already we are in a desperate of originality, but at least this one is a solid remake that I personally liked a little bit more than the original. So, having said that, it's all about your presence, and I hope I have made it easy for you to choose which version to watch if this is your first time rummaging through the My Fault franchise. Also, there's a no denying it's a quite an entertaining story because a lot is happening. So, for the alone, I'd give My Fault London 3 out of 5 stars, an adaptation that stands on its own 2 feet. My Fault London, a guilty player in every sense of the word, serving as the remake to the 2023 Spanish film My Fault. My Fault London offers a fresh spin on the steamy romantic tale, and to be honest, this version is actually better than the original. For the most part, the film does a pretty good job distinguishing itself away from its Spanish cousin with just enough similarities to antique fans of the original in and enough action and chemistry to make it accessible for newcomers. Of course, with a film like this is the real meat and potatoes stemmed from the characters, and thankfully Noah and Nick are delightfully delicious in their role as enemies turns lover. Their chemistry is far better and feels more natural than well Noah and Nick in the Spanish version, and this one's done away with the silly love triangle too. My Fault London instead is your classic literally take on the enemies to lovers trope, and it milks this for all it's worth. Unfortunately, it does so with little depth of any of the supporting character, and the world building is serious lacking too. For those unaware, the story follows 18 years old Noah who moves from America to London with her mother, who is recently falling in love with William, a wealthy British businessman. Whilst in London, Noah meets William's son, bad boy Nick, and soon discover there is an attraction between them that neither can avoid. Of course, as one may expect, they start out as background step siblings and are at each other's throat, but it doesn't take long for those defenses to fall and the spark to really ignite between them. As Noah spends the summer adjusting to her new life, she also wrestles with a devastating past too, which threatened to catch up with her. All of this, of course, collides together into the whirlwind romance which makes up the core of their remake. The story is pretty straightforward and you will see the twist coming a mile off. There is an attempt to wrap these two step sibling backstories together to give them more of a connection, and there's a undeniable chemistry between them. Furthermore, the drama arcs between them does at least give the pair something to work with rather than just making goo-goo eyes at one another for 2 hours. The shared interest in racing is a nice touch too, although it's quite amusing to see the speed motor inside the cars reading as km/h despite the UK using miles per hour, but there we go. These car races and this fight to help to give this one a better pacing compared to the original, and in between this there's a definitely some steaming scenes here too, which let's face it is mostly why people are going to tune in. Outside of Noah and Nick, there's a shocking lack of depth or car for any of the other character. Despite seeming to be a big part of the story early on, guys enter for one scene to exude exposition before leaving. Meanwhile, Gina is here to serve up some gossip for Noah and not much else, while Nick's friend Leon has much depth as a puddle on a cold, rainy day in London, which is basically every day, let's be honest. Everyone gang into the film is doing so far a simple guilty player romance and nothing more. Don't go into this one expecting much beyond the romance, and thankfully the chemistry between Nick and Noah is enough to carry this one even if the film wobbles on the way. It's certainly not perfect, but compared to the original, this is a much better movie. It still has a myriad of issue to contend with, but if you enjoyed My Fault, you would find more than enough with My Fault London to sequence your fist. My Fast London 2025. Nick and Noah try to stay each other's way in new My Fart London sneak peek. With Amazon Prime Video My Fart London set to debut in less than 3 months, the streaming guide keeps feeding fans glimpses of the interpreting rom drama. Last month, Prime Video unveiled the first image of the film starring Asha Banks, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and Matthew Broome's The Bachelors. But now the streamer has released a 30-second sneak peek on their official X account teasing the unraveled chemistry between Banks Noah and Broome's Nick. Directed by Charlotte Fassler and Dani Girdwood as their directorial debut, My Fart London is a British adaptation of the first book in Mercedes Dawn best-selling Culpa Mía trilogy. Plus, it follows the worldwide success of Prime Video's Spanish original movie Culpa Mía, based on the same novel starring Nicole Valles and Gabriel Covada, which premiered on the streamer on June 8, 2023. My Fart London teased video shows Noah about to take a trip that will change her life forever. And upon getting to her new home, she and Nick think it's best to stay out of each other's way. In addition to Bex and Broome, My Fart London stars Ave McLean, Ray Fearson, Anwar Levish, Jason Fleming, Kareem Hassan, Sam Bishon, Amelia, Kenworthy, and Harry Gibley. Alongside this exciting teaser, Prime Video has released the premiere date for My Fault London, February 13, 2025, only 3 months. So this 2025 movie is exclusive, produced by Harry Cathen, Alex T. Corline Bank, and Domingue. From the production company 42, in anticipation of the drama to come next year, the film is teased as such. My Fart London tells the story of 18-year-old Noah, whose mother Ella falls in love with the very healthy William. The two move from America to London to live with William and his son Nick, but upon arrival, Noah discovers that there is an empty attraction between her and bad boy Nick. Noah spends the summer adjusting to her new life, making new friends from Nick's various circles, and navigating a complicated relationship with him while they fight to keep their attraction at bay. Noah will ultimately be forced to deal with her devastating past while falling in love for the first time. My Fart London debuted on February 13, 2025. My Fault London is a 2025 movie played by Asha Banks and Matthew, and this movie has the same story if you have already watched Culpa Mía in 2023. So sexy, moving, and with lots of drama and some high octane action thrown in, My Fault London is a charming movie of Valentine's Day. My Fault London is an English language adaptation of the 2023 Spanish film My Fault, which was based on the novel Culpa Mía by Mercedes Dawn, By an adaptation, the filmmakers mean a remake of the original Spanish film. Most of the character names remains the same. The film has the same premise, and much of the original film is relocated to London. The car chase that comes at the climax of the film is still there, and but set in the streets of England's capital city, are semi-fast and furious, if you will, despite the changes. However, the film is one that is stands to be embraced by the streaming audience. The charm is all there, as are the favorite character. If you have not seen the original Spanish version, minor spoiler ahead. Noah is a teenager girl who moves with her mother Ella from Florida to London to live with her new stepfather William. Upon arrival, Noah meets her stepbrother Nick, and there is an immediate attraction between them. Noah spends the summer adjusting to her new life, making new friends from Nick's various circle and navigating a complicated relationship with him while they fight to keep the attraction. But unbeknownst to Noah, her father has been released from prison and starts tracking her every move. Noah will ultimately be forced to deal with her devastating past while falling in love for the first time. So let's get this out of the way. From the off, Asha Banks and Matthew Broome make for a sizzling on-screen couple throughout as Noah and Nick respectively. They system up the screen almost from their first meeting, almost all of what the original version threw at the character they experience here. Both young actors deliver the goods from the first time they appeared on screen. Both are extremely likable, keeping us invested in their relationship and the difficulties they face. At times, we find ourselves disliking Nick, but the soon turns out feelings around once again. Matthew Broome does a tremendous job as the character, getting himself into trouble, acting Nestle toward his new step-sister, but we are drawn to him, finding ourselves fearing for him later in the film despite already knowing the outcome. Asha Banks makes us fall head over heels in love with her from the first seconds we see her on screen. As Noah, she, like Matthew Broome, has the main weight of the film and story on her shoulders, but she takes the loads with ease, headstrong, emotional, and energy, but naive at the same time. Noah comes across as a teenager stepping family into an adult world for the first time. The backstory of her character has us fearing for her later in the proceedings, but deep down we know she will still stand tall by the climax. Again, like Matthew Broome's, Asha Banks fully fleshes out her character, making her become someone we love and want to see more of in the future. So, the adaptation of Mercedes Dawn's novel by Melissa Orme is a winner from the start for those who are new to the franchise. Although the film covers mostly are the same events as the Spanish original, the script feels fresh and new. Moving the material to London from Spain actually works wonder for the film, making it stand out for another adaptation that appears from time to time. Although the end of the film deviates from the original somewhat, we still find ourselves crimped by what is happening in Noah and Nick budding relationship. Perhaps there will be an adaptation for the second film, Your Fault in the Offing. So, I hope they certain Melissa Osborne to write the adapted screenplay after her stellar work here. So, the direction by Dani Girdwood and Fassler only amplifies the material, making the film that much more enjoyable. Moving and with lots of drama and some high octane action thrown in. My Fault London is a charming movie for Valentine's Day. It's a mix of smothering love between the two main characters paired with the chemistry of Asha Banks and Matthew Broome. The film is a winner. It doesn't take a genius to work out how it will all end, but the fun is seeing how it gets here along the way. With a brilliant support from Ray Ferreton, Jason Fleming, Abe McLean, Anwar Levish, Kareem Hassan, Sam Bethon, and others. The film never bores us nor turns us off. It keeps us switching the throughout, hoping that Noah and Nick get their happy ending. By the time the final third kicks in, the film does take a turn we don't expect. Romance and hot sparks turn into violence and death. But even these events, which we can guess will be resolved to our satisfaction, keep us on the edge of our seats. This is superior storytelling at its finest. The film deserved a cinema outing. I saw it as its global premiere on a big screen. It is good enough to be a theatrical feature on that would have the box office tails bulging with cash. My Fight London is hopefully the start of English language adaptation of the final two films. It deserves to become a trilogy. By the love of your life a bunch of flowers, get her some chocolates, buy a bottle of wine to go with dinner. They settle back to cuddle together with the film. You will not regret it. My Fault 2025 and Amazon Prime Video, and the movie is played by Asha Banks and Matthew. So, a tremendous tale of love, family, and decisions. The film follows Noah, a teenage girl, adjusting to her new life in London with her mother, stepfather, and an unexpected romantic attraction to her stepfather Nick, all while being stalked by her estranged father just released from prison. When I sat down to watch My Fair London, I expect a British romantic drama with a bit of flair. What I got was a chaotic cocktail of romance, family drama, and suspense that kept me glued to the screen, sometimes out of intrigue, other times out of sheer disbelief. Let's start with the positive because surprisingly there are quite a few. Asha Banks as Noah delivers a performance that is both vulnerable and fierce. She captured the essence of a teenager thrown into unfiltered royalty, balancing the excitement of new friendship with the weight of her troubled past. Matthew Broome as Nick brings charm and complexity to the character that could have easily been a glitch. Their chemistry is palpable even when the script makes you question every time choice these characters are making. London as a backdrop is a win. The film makes the most of its setting, offering viewers as a usual treat with its blend of claustrophobic architecture and modern city life. From bustling cafe to dimly lit alleyways, the cinematography gives the film a moody, atmospheric guilty that suit its tone perfectly. But for every moment of brilliance, there's an equal moment of head-scratching absurdity. Let's address the elephant in the room, the step-sibling romance. Look, I am all of complicated love stories, but this one threads a fine line between edgy and comfortable. The film tries to justify it with sizzling chemistry and romantic tension, but it's hard not to feel like you are watching something that might be one family diner away from complete disaster. The plot, while engaging, feel like it was crafted by someone who wanted to fit every possible dramatic trope into 2 hours. Noah's adjustment to her new life, check forbidden romance, a pathetic strange father tracking her every move, and absolutely by the time Noah is forced to confront her past while simultaneously falling in love. I found myself wondering if this girl would ever catch a break or at least get a therapist. One of the biggest strengths of the film is its pacing aspect when it is not. The first half moves swiftly, pulling you into Noah's world and her tangled web of relationships, but the second half tries to do too much too quickly. One moment Noah and Nick are sharing a quiet, intimate scene, and the next we are thrown into a high-stakes confrontation with Noah's father that feels more like a thriller than a romance. The tonal shifts and jarring making it hard to fully invest in angry single storyline. The supporting cast is hit or miss. Ray Forson as William brings a grounded, calming presence to the screen, while Eve McLean's portrayal of Ella's Noir mother feels underwhelming at times. You expect a mother-daughter dynamic that's layered and passionate, but what you get is surface level relationship that leaves you wanting more. Anwar Levish as Gina, Noah's new friend, offers moments of levity of authenticity, but other supporting characters like Jason Flames, Travis feel like they belong in an entirely different hymn. Now let's talk about the writing. The dialogue swings between being painfully realistic and painfully melodramatic. For every genuine exchange that tugs at your heartstring, there's a line that feels like it was pulled straight from a teenage wet-page fanfiction. There are only so many times you can hear character whisper, I cannot stay away from you before you start rolling your eyes. Despite its flaws, the film portrayal of Noah's emotional journey is commendable. Watching her confront her past, especially with the looming threat of her father, adds depth to a character that could have easily been reduced to a lovesick teenager. The film attempts to explore theme of trust, trauma, and resilience, and while it does not always succeed, it deserves credit for trying. The soundtrack deserves a mention not because it's exceptional but because it feels like someone read it. Every Spotify playlist labeled emotional teen angst. It's not bad, but it's so on the nose that you cannot help but chuckle when yet another melancholic ID trick starts playing during an intense starts-off between Noah and Nick. Technically, the film is polished. The cinematography, lighting, and color grading work as harmony to create a visual appealing film that often feels more suffocated than its plot. However, the editing could use some fitness. Some scenes linger too long, while others feel absurdly cut, leaving you feeling slightly disoriented. Ultimately, My Fault London is a roller coaster, sometimes thrilling, sometimes nausea inducing, but never boring. It's the kind of film that makes you laugh, cry, and occasionally yell all your screen, all within the span of a few minutes if you are looking for a perfectly crafted romantic drama. This isn't it. But if you are in the mood of a messy emotional ride with a side of London aesthetic, it's worth a watch. Would I recommend it? Yes, only if you are prepared to embrace this chaos. It's a flawed, it's frustrating, but it also oddly addictive. Just don't blame me if you find yourself questioning why you are so invested in the love life of two-step sibling while dodging a vengeful ex-convict. Culpa Mía, My Fault London. In summer 2015, the Argentine author Mercedes Ron began to write on her first novel. The ingredients of her young adult romance Culpa Mía were very simple, a forbidden love between strictly but so far hated step-sibling, seasoned with expensive parties and illegal car racing. After the publication on the ebook platform Wattpad, her debut work also went on TikTok viral thanks to numerous hype clips, which later with two sequels to the trilogy Culpable series. The after series by Anna was based on the model told to the global superhit. A film adaptation was actually only a matter of time, and so Amazon Prime Video finally scored the rights. In June 2023, Culpa Mía My Fault started in more than 240 countries and territories on the streaming platform and immediately took the lead of the charts in 190, a huge success, especially once you consider that it is a Spanish production. But despite the Squid Game and Descartes, English language content is still attributed to greater hit potential, and so the Last Flavor and English language remake failed in May 2024 in Culpa Mía My Fault London, which also appears exclusively on Amazon Prime Video. The well-known act from Spain will be removed to the theme to the title giving Metropolish. However, the added value for connoisseur of the original is very low in the feature film debut of the director Charlotte Fassler and Dani Girdwood. So, Ella found a new love in the Strankevit William Lister. So together with her leather atheistic daughter Noah, she grabs the suitcase and moves from the US states of Florida to his luxurious house in London. Here, 18 years old Noah also gets to know Nick of the same age, which he initially considered to be imaginary and spoiled dad. But about their common soft spot for car racing, the step siblings soon discover romantic feeling for each other, which they keep secret in front of their parents. However, there is also a threat of another side. Ronnie, freshly released from the jail, not only has the fast side of his adversary Nick. Experience to the boxing, everything remains the same. Where the rivalry of Ronnie and Nick comes from, or why Noah did not even see her new stepfather or stepbrother before moving to London by Skype call, could not be mentioned. As in the literary template and in the Spanish film adaptation, the story is again very thin again. This is only held together by the aesthetic party celebration, annoying relationship conflicts between prejudice and short circuit reactions, illegal car racing as well as, and this is a new under Culpa Mía, my fault, London brutal underground boxing fights. In particular, the illegal fights don't really want to go into the clean milieu of the rich kids' fits and therefore appear extremely put on. After all, the picture is the quite simple stage action scenes, come stylish and ensure some optical show values with diffuse light. No wonder after all Claude Fassler and Dani Girdwood previously staged music video and for Katy Perry. The remake has a few more innovations compared to the Spanish original. Nick's aggressive dog Thor was completely deleted from the video. Noah gets to know her new best friend Jenna at a pool party, but at the acknowledgeable assessment of her sustained card from an illegal car racing. In Culpa Mía, My Fault London, Nick is also not an emerging chanticleer but an app developer in search of meaning. He exchanged a bright red Porsche for a roaring McLaren with which he roars at night through a little characteristic spot in downtown London. In any ease, a real British local colour rarely comes into the own, and well-heightened people then also travel to Ibiza, where there are unequal picturesque scene between the beach and the sea than in the cloudy cold London. However, the biggest difference between original and remake are in the final. The reinterpretation cannot avoid a wild case in turn sport cars, but here's the courage to over-the-top action madness is missing. While the Spanish production was still executive with an absurd sports car ballet with fast and furious vibes on a narrow pier, the final in the new edition is much cheaper and disappointingly realistic. Even if the lineup is crazy looking at a young audience, the two attractive main characters are the biggest mistake of Culpa Mía, My Fault London. Asha Banks, known from the young adult crime series A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, her always bad Haman Noah as a complicated and beastly bitch Matthew Broome's allowed his Nick despite the bad band face as an open and cook snapped with an enormously short coat. Both are therefore so appealing that their complicated large references full of setbacks and adolescent free stage love scenes, preferably in the pool and with lolly pop songs, is simply gold. A new supposedly romantic scene at the fireplace in which Nick cultural t-shirts with a cinema cover such as the impressive Ferris is really annoying compared to the Spanish original, and illusion to the cult classic Ferris makes Blue Band the associated rich descendants which the film celebrate subliminal and disgusting again and again should be particularly angry here. The illegal boxing match are new, but otherwise the necessary remake Culpa Mía, My Fault London has hardly an noticeable impulses when it comes to racing car medicine in the final. The new edition even clearly draw the shorter one and the local color of the new title giving setting in largely unused. My Fault London, the Spanish language adaptation of Mercedes Ron Culpable's novel, has been smash hits on Prime Video. Culpa is Prime Video's most successful international original ever. That meant the pressure was on first-time directing duo Dani Girdwood and Carla Fassler as they took on helming the English language adaptation of the first chapter in the series Culpa Mía. Their film relocates the action to England, and My Fault London launches in time of Valentine's Day, dropping on February 13. Asha Banks and Matthew Broome play Noah and Nick, role made famous on screen by Nicole Valles and Gabriel Guevara in the Spanish movies. There was something lovely about the fact that we are due and we were working primarily with these two leads who become due in their own right. Fassler told Deadline that it was the first beer of all of us. We all had the same ambition of it. We formed a deep friendship and bond which really allowed us to grow those characters together. In My Fault London, Noah moves from Florida to a Lux mansion to the English capital after her mother Ella married Nick's father William. A love story ensues as the film tender moments sit alongside scenes of fast cars, hard partying, and bare knuckle gifts. Matt is a director deem is that he is so curious. Girdwood said so much of our job is asking question and so much of his job is asking question. Together we were getting to dig into who is Nick Lister and who is mid version of Nick. Girdwood says Banks meanwhile brought a transitional quality to the shot as soon as we cut. She was able to immediately connect with you as a director and as a collaborator. She has such an affinity for the technical side of it that I think one day she'd make a brilliant director. Girdwood and Fassler go by similar but different as a directing pair. They have a background in commercials and music videos and have worked with the likes of Cat Perry and Liam Pyle. My Fault London opened with Lily Allen's LDN and crafting the soundtrack was top of mind. As soon as we read the script, we made an overall playlist. Fassler explains then we made playlists for each character. It felt like such an opportunity to really craft a soundtrack for the generation which had the mixture of slightly throwback like a Britney Spears for a Lily Allen which really culturally cinematography, music like a Charlie XCX, and then all these younger British artists like a Gretel or a Holly Humberstone. When Deadline revealed Culpa Mía was Prime Video biggest ever international launch, James Farrell, Prime Video's international original boss, said the streamer attributes the success of its YA fair to the aesthetics qualities in its films and series. Girdwood and Fassler lead into that My Fault London. There's a definite aesthetics quality to this film and to the love story and to these thrilling car chases and the music. Fassler says that was something we really wanted people to come into the movie and have a lot of fun. That's something within the book that people love, so we definitely wanted to amuse our film with that too. With My Fault London about to drop on Prime Video in over 200 territories, the stakes are high for the directing duo given the success of Domingo Gonzalez Helmet's Spanish movie that went before. It was actually quite motivating to know that there was such love for these stories and for these characters. We hope that the fan base will enjoy that we have added to the universe and that it is offering a different flavor of something that is so loved. Fassler. Benjay Abriza's Pakimish film produced the Spanish adaptation of Franz Culpabel's novel, while Ben Polk and Erika Stenberg produced My Fault London for 42. Prime Video followed upon on the success of Culpa Mía with Culpa Toya. A third movie, Culpa Nostra, is in can and launch later this year. So where there'll be a Your Fault London, maybe an Our Fault London to complete the set. No spoiler, but at the end of the movie it does feel like Nick and Noah's story is not quite finished. So hopefully Girdwood said, fingers crossed for sure. My Fault London 2025. An 18 years old a girl moves from America to London with her mother and wealthy stepfather. She meets her stepbrother and an attractive Bruce despite their efforts. Unaware, her estranged father tracks her down after release from prison. Actors is Ray Pearson, William Jason Flame, Travis, and the movie is released on the Valentine Day of 2025. My Fault London ending explain what happened to Noah and Nick in the end. My Fault London is a romantic drama film released on February 13, 2025 exclusively on Amazon Prime Video. The movie is a British adaptation of the 2023 Spanish film Culpa Mía based on Mercedes Ron's novel Culpa Mía. Set in London, the story is a thrilling mix of love stories, family problems, and high stakes action. The movie revolves around 18 years old Noah, whose life changes when she and her mother move from Florida to London. Since her mother married a new man, she has to live with him and his son Nick, who at first seems like a spoiled brat. My Fault London has a thrilling ending with chases, dangerous confrontation, and emotional revelation. Noah has gotten away from her abusive father, but it didn't come easy. As the police close in on her dad, the movie builds to a dramatic climax with Nick hurt but still alive. Nick is there for Noah as she starts to rebuild her life after she comes to terms with her past. Noah and Nick share a moment of peace at the end of the movie, which signifies the start of a new part of their lives. However, their journey is far from over because they still have to deal with the problems that come with being together, especially since their parents don't support it. The history between Noah and her father Travis is important to fully understand how the ending of My Fault London made viewers feel. Early in the movie, it is revealed that Noah has a bad relationship with her father, which affects everything she does and thinks throughout the movie. Travis used to be a good dad, but as his drugs and alcohol abuse got worse, he turned mean. His violent outburst got worse to the point where Noah had to testify against him, which got him locked up. Noah's case from her father and her past keep bothering her. She has panic attacks and struggles with the trauma of her father abusing her. As the movie goes on, it clears that Travis still feels very angry about his daughter's part in getting him convicted. His release from prison sets the stage for the high-stakes drama of the movie as he tries to get back into Noah's life for at the end of the movie. Travis plans to get Noah a new family to pay him money starts to come together. Ronnie kidnaps Noah and takes her to a secret location, and Travis then demands $1 million to free her. Ayla, Noah's mother, and her new husband William work with the police to pay the ransom and save Noah, even though William has abused Ayla in the past. Nick, who has grown close to Noah, takes matters into his own hands. At the same time, Nick races to where Ronnie is hiding when he realizes that the car that was stolen from him earlier can help him find Ronnie. Nick and Ronnie then get into a tense argument, which starts to high-speed chase through the streets of London. This is where the movie builds up to its dramatic and exciting ending. The most intense and action-packed part of the movie is the high-speed chase. Noah has to drive because her father told her to, so she skillfully moves through the streets of London to get away from Nick. Although she is a skilled driver, Nick eventually catches up to them, causing a dangerous crash. Noah is not hurt in the crash, but Nick's car flipped over and hurts him badly. While the police are getting closer, Travis tries to hold Noah hostage, but she gets away. A lot of chaos follows, so the police shot Travis to end his reign of terror for good. Noah's life changing at the end of the movie when she is finally free from her father's control. One of the most important questions of the high-speed case is whether Nick recovers from his injuries due to the car accident and the stabbing he suffered earlier in the movie. His future is uncertain. At the end of the movie, Nick is rushed to the hospital where doctors work to stabilize him. However, by My Fault London's ending, Nick's condition is quite better. Nick's injuries are shown to be improving 6 months after the accident. Other than the scare from being stabbed, he is healthy. It feels like Nick's character has got together with Noah. In the end, Noah gets away from her controlling father and finds happiness with Nika. This starts a fresh chapter of their lives together even with the problem that the couple faces throughout the movie. Their relationship gets stronger as they help each other deal with their traumas. Noah and Nick have a sweet moment together even though their parents are still worried about how taboo their relationship is. Noah and Nick are determined to be with each other no matter what. As the movie ends on a hopeful note, it seems like the couple is ready to face the hard road ahead together, even though it might be tough. My fault. London escaping explain what happens to Nick. So if you're curious about the ending of My Fault London, here are all the spoilers about what happens in the film. A remake of the 2023 Spanish movie Culpa Mía. It tells the story of a young girl Noah who along with her mother moves into house of the latter new husband and her stepfather. This result is her filming a complex relationship with her stepbrother Nick. So Nick is alive or dead at the end of the My Fault London, and do he and Noah get together? Without further ado, here are the answers to all your questions regarding My Fault London. So, as much of the film Nick engage in dangerous activities like underground fights and drag racing, which can certainly kill someone if they are not careful. His tendency for violence also further risks his life, much to Noah's dismissal. This is because she is troubled by the thought of violence on account of her traumatic past with her father. Nick eventually gets a significant stab wound while fighting Ronnie, his rival. The latter is working with Noah's criminal father, Travis, who is holding her hostage. However, Nick brushes off his wound trying to rescue Noah. He gets into a car and trails Travis, who is in a separate car with Noah, cautious her into outrunning him. Nick eventually catches up to both of them. In the process, his car collides with Travis and flips upside down, further worsening his stab wound. Luckily, Nick is eventually given timely medical care and survives his stab wound. Moreover, his survivor is only revealed to viewers in the epilogue set 6 months after the events of the film. So, do Nick and Noah end up together in My Fault London? Yes, Nick and Noah end up together at the end of the My Fault London. Despite starting on the wrong foot, Nick and Noah grow closer over the course of the film events. Moreover, the latter even manage to make him consider leaving his love for violence behind. Besides, the two also do not consider the taboo nature of their relationship, given that technically they are step siblings due to their respective parents' marriage. Albeit Nick and Noah do decide not to tell their parents about their love for the moment to avoid conflicts. Asha Banks is now in the driver's seat. So Asha Banks is quite literally in the driver's seat, not only with her career but also in the high-stakes romantic drama My Fault London. The 21 years old English actress and singer who got her start in theatre production at London West End is now showing she is forced on the screen and in the studio with her upcoming music EP Untie My Tongue. Last year, she started in Netflix hit show A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which has already been renewed for a second season. Now she is leading Prime Video's new Wattpad film My Fault London, based on the novel Culpa Mía by Mercedes Ron, which follows her character Noah, who is forced to move from America to London to live with her mother's new husband and his son. Nick, she spends the summer adjusting to her new life, friends, complicated romance with Nick, and some illegal racing, all while having to deal with her devastating past. The both projects already have huge fan base because of their respective books, with the latter also having a successful Spanish language film series. Banks is ready to show that she brings to the franchise. Having people that care so much about the project is exciting but also scary. Banks tells the Hollywood Reporter that I could not wait to kind of get into to it and have people discovered our version as well. Blue Banks open up about creating her own version of Noah, the success of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, dropping her first two singles, So Green and Feel the Rush, where she hopes to like music in the future, and more. Coming from a theater background, do you have a preference now between stage and screen performances? I love that they are so different. It was quite a transition going from theater to more on-screen stuff because I was so used to doing stage performing. I was not educated in the art of screen acting or anything, so I really learned alongside the people that I was working with when I first started doing it, and was very lucky to be doing this job with some really amazing people and screen actors and directors and their teams because it was hard. It was a transition. I found myself really overacting all the time when I first started auditioning for screen jobs, and I had to tell myself to rein it and chill out a bit because I was theater performing for the camera. Last year, we started in the hit Netflix show A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. What was it like being a part of the series with such a huge fan base because of the book? It was kind of daunting going into it, I guess, it's got such an amazing fandom of people that we were so excited of it to become a screen adaptation as well. So when I first got to the part, I was a bit nervous because obviously I felt like I made scene as Kira and I loved the character and could not wait. But I was kind of worried that people would not agree because when you read something, you have a vision of who you think the character will be and what you think it will look like and everything. So it was a bit scary going into it, but it was so exciting, and having a fan base that already existed was just amazing because it made that people was anticipating it and excited for it. With My Fault London, which also has a huge fan base because of the books and Spanish language movies, what are you most excited for fans to see with your installment? I am just excited for them to see the story and character that they love because obviously our movie is based on the book and there's a Spanish original movie that's been done so well and people love. And I am just excited at the chance to be a part of that. Our movies is so London based and London feels like another character, and that's something that I really excited for the fans of the different version to kind of see and experience. How did go about differentiating your version of Noah compared to Spanish actress Nicole Valles' portrayal of the character? I made a point to not watch the Spanish movie before I started filming because I felt like it would make me get in my head a bit and overthink before we start filming. So I tried to go into it with a fresh idea of the character from the book or the script. Then once I wrapped filming, I was like, yes, I can watch the Spanish movie now. And Matthew Broome, who plays Nick, and I actually watched it together, and it was so exciting watching it after filming because there were so many things that we were like, oh, we did that scene or oh, that bit's different in our movie, and be able to appreciate it and find the similarities and difference as well. There was also some online discourse around Prime Video reasoning for already making another movie in the franchise despite the Spanish language film My Fault only coming out in 2023. Did that add any pressure going into filming? So absolutely similar to A Good Girl Guide to Murder, having people that care so much about the project is exciting but also scary. It kind of works equally, but I could not wait to kind of get into it and have people discover our version as well because when I first go to the audition, I had the same shot of thought. You think our version just came out, I wonder why they are doing it again. But I think it's just because it was so popular and everybody just wants more people to be able to see it and experience it. So I was like, let's do it. My Fight London includes so many different cinematic elements between romance, action, revelry, etc. What was your favorite part to the film? That's such a hard question because it's got absolutely everything. So there was never a dull moment on set. It was always kind of switching between all the aspects. Matthew and I would always talk about how when we were filming, it felt like we were filming three different movies, and then when we watch it, it will absolutely utter punch with each other. But it was so much fun. All the racing scenes were just incredible, and something I have never obviously done before. So it was just surreal to be able to do that and to be on the soundstage and film like car chases. It was thrilling. Since there are three books total in the series, do you hope to reprise your character Noah in potentially two more films? Absolutely, I'd love to do that. That would be an absolute drama. Hopefully, if it goes down well, if people want to see more, I hope that happens. Shifting to music, what's your reaction to releasing your first two singles, So Green and Feel the Rush? It's just been so amazing and something that I have been looking forward to doing for ages. I have been writing music since I was teeny, so I have always loved doing it and been so excited to be able to release and have other people hear. But it's just been overwhelming, the amount of love and the response being shot of the same back has been really heartwarming. I just cannot wait to release more music. It's something that I love doing and I love writing and I love being able to flip between both worlds, and I feel very lucky to be able to do that. Can you tease anything about your upcoming EP Untie My Tongue, which drops on March 7? I'm just sort of a storyteller at heart, and that's why I love acting and I love writing music so well. So I think the EP kind of follows the story, and you should be able to follow the story throughout. Oh, it's so strange talking about it. I love it, but I cannot wait for it to come out for people to be able to hear my music, and it's sort of an introduction to me and my sound and my writing style. What do you love most about the songwriting side of music? I love being able to sort of create it that way. I think with acting it's a lot of helping somebody else's creating come to life, and with music and songwriting especially, it's nice to be able to be in the creative seat and being able to write this such an creative outlet for me, and I just really love it and enjoy being able to experience things and then write about them and feel a positive result after. Making something that you love is just really rewarding. When you get some free time, what does your perfect day off look like? I just love spending time with my family. I live at home still, so my mom and I probably will just cozy up and watch TV or watch a film with my dog, and or go for a walk in the park or see friends. I just love having my loved ones around me, so doing so much so that as possible in my first time is ideal, or writing a song obviously, which even though I should not probably be doing it in my free time, I am anyway. What's one of the biggest challenge you have been able to overcome to help get you to where you are today? Sounds so glitchy, but it's short of carrying on and just letting the passion that I have for what I do kind of carry me throughout, cause it can be quite ruthless at times. I feel like being a kid in the theater world is quite ruthless, so I think that taught me a lot about resilience. If you had to describe what makes Asha Banks, what would you say? Oh, really clumsy. I remember when I am nervous, it seems, and I have said this is a million times, but the people that I have around me make me who I am, I think. My Fort London is currently streaming on Prime Video. My Fort London, high octane and sexy, how my Fort London turned the city into an non-wonderful. You knew Guilty Player is while spawning onto streaming platform Prime Video just in time for Valentine's Day. For the silly name, because Big City remains My Fort London, a UK satirical of a smash hit 2023 Spanish film called My Fault is full of fight, club style, brawling. Fast 5 skewed drag races and a slobbering central love story that's anything but smooth. It could be this year's answer to Red, White and Blue Royal Beautiful People in a timeless cultural clash remains only with more smoking tires. There was just this fun, adventurous, alluring, sexy, thrilling and romantic feeling that draws us in Charlotte Fassler, the film's co-director with Dani Girdwood, tells Times Out. And the plot, teenage girl Noah, played by Asha Banks, is forced to move from Florida to London when her mother, Ella, marries William. Arriving in the English capital, she meets and quickly falls for her new stepbrother Nick. Over the course of the summer, they become closer and closer until a figure from Noah's past arrives in London to threaten their future. The filmmakers wanted to show a high-octane and sexier London that still felt real. We wanted the city to feel like a character, says Girdwood. It has to have a sense of wish fulfillment and excitement. There are so many films that shoot in every genre or Vigo locations. We wanted ours to feel authentic. William and Nick's home is in Harwood Hill Mill. It's not specified where William and Nick live in London, but their home, which Noah and Ella move into at the start of the film, needed to have the feel of Rainier's Park but still be participants to shoot in. They found the house in Highwood Hill Mill, a Levy owner of North London. We wanted something massive and imposing, says Girdwood, to knock the audience socks off. Noah's first London ball was filmed at Burlington House, Mayfair. Soon after Noah arrives in London, she is whisked off to a star-studded gala where she learns that Nick is not just a spoiled rich kid but instead made his own money by developing an app. This is a crucial scene because it's the first time you see Noah out and about in London, explains Girdwood. The location needed to feel impressive. So many films shot in gigantic London location, we wanted ours to feel authentic. Mayfair Burlington House, built in the late 1600s, was used for the exterior where Nick poses for the paparazzi. We wanted him to drive straight in so you get see it impressive architecture. Alfred Reddy reported that we were right in the center of London, says Girdwood. The interiors were filmed in Palliser Hall, an event space located in Barbican. It had this stylish feel, says Girdwood. It felt distinctly un-American, so it gives her character a cultural shock. Shortly after the gala sequence, Noah follows Nick after the abandoned Sarah on Albert Bridge and confronts him at a party. This story was shot at MC Motors, another event space in Dalston. Noah and Nick's first kiss take place in a Stratford car park. Noah and Nick get close when she joins him at an underground car chase which begins at a multi-story car park. Noah takes along after discovering that her boyfriend in Florida has cheated on her with her bestie. Enter Nick with a cunning plan to make Noah's boyfriend jealous that Noah should send him picture of them kissing. He takes her up to the roof of the car park where they kiss, all against a stunning backdrop of the London skyline. We wanted something that felt urban, says Fassler. It had to have a completely different texture to what we had seen at the family home or the gala. We wanted to keep it grounded so that people knew we were still in London. Queen Elizabeth Car Park, built for the 2012 Olympic, hit the spot. It was important to have that glamour of London in the background when they kiss, says Girdwood. Because even though we were in a different location, we wanted to keep it grounded so that people knew we were still in London. My Fort London's car racing sequences were shot at the famous racing circuit at Brands Hatch in Nantes. The cast and filmmakers were given the lowdown on the track's history place in British motor racing history. I had remembered driving around the track in our scout van and it just put a smile on all of our faces, says Fassler. Looking to get away from the prying eyes of their parents, Nick, Noah and their friend decide to take a weekend trip to Ibiza so they can let loose.